Today we go over Star Wars Episode 9, the final film of the Skywalker saga. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, with J.J. Abrams currently filming, directing the final movie of the sequel trilogy, this is a huge task that he has to get correct, in my opinion, in order to satisfy a majority of the Star Wars fans around the world. Now, when it comes to Episode 9, we have a ton of returning characters, such as Luke, Leia, and even Lando Calrissian. Now, Lando Calrissian we haven't seen on screen since Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. It's been decades since we have seen the real Lando Calrissian, and that is one thing that I'm really looking forward to in Episode 9. Now, just a couple of days ago, we learned more about this movie, about Carrie Fisher, and what footage that they're actually using in the movie, not only from The Force Awakens, but also The Last Jedi. And additionally, we did learn that Star Wars Episode 9 will have tons of nostalgia in this movie, because it will indeed be the end of the Skywalker series. So, looking at everything here, guys, I want to ask you a big question. What do you think about Star Wars Episode 9 having tons of nostalgia in this movie? Is that a good or a bad thing? Now, I'll give out my 2 cents here. I feel that nostalgia is a great thing as long as it's not overdone. This can be done in the forms of cameos or places that are returning in this movie. We do know that J.J. Abrams will indeed be using prequel trilogy continuity, and I believe that that in itself will be exactly, what the nostalgia will be. I think that a lot of it will have to do with the prequel trilogy content that'll be in Episode 9, whether that's planets or characters returning or cameos, etc. There's tons of things that could definitely make up for this movie having tons of nostalgia, but the fact that it's going to be a lot of nostalgia in this movie lines directly up with what the Weekly Planet said just a couple of weeks ago, where they said Disney and Lucasfilm are treating this movie as a very fan-servicey movie in order to please a lot of Star Wars fans out there after, of course, The Last Jedi. Now, the fact that this movie is going to have a lot of fan service, I'm not against fan service per se, as long as it serves a purpose and it actually holds a lot of purpose and value to the overall plot of the movie. If it gets you somewhere in the plot, then that's a-okay, but just throwing things in there for the heck of it, that's where I disagree. Like, let's say, for example, Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost appears for no reason at all, it's just there, there's no meaning to it, it just wouldn't make too much sense. However, if you want to throw that in there as a way of reuniting father and son, Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker, that has meaning to it. There's an emotional impact there that'll really touch fans' hearts around the world. That, I feel, has a lot of purpose to it. So, looking at Episode 9 and the fact that J.J. Abrams will be implementing tons of nostalgia into this movie, how do you guys feel about that? I'm very interested to know how you all feel about Episode 9 having lots of nostalgia in this movie that serves as the final film of the sequel trilogy. Like I say, I think that this all has to do with the prequel content, whether it has to do with cameos or if it has to do with returning places, such as, for example, Naboo. There's been a lot of talk about Naboo returning in Episode 9 because they are indeed looking over in a couple of spots over in Italy as a returning, filming location for the Star Wars series, which could indicate that Naboo is coming back. But overall, guys, like I say, in conclusion, I think that nostalgia is great as long as it's not overdone and it actually has purpose. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.